Welcome to a James Bond journey. Last year, I watched every James Bond movie for the first time. I did a whole bunch of reviews on them, and now I'm doing some favorites lists. So here's my top 10 James Bond henchmen ever. Let's define what a henchman is. A henchman and a villain are two different things. The villain hatches the plan. A henchman follows orders. I already made a top 10 Bond villains list. Link in the description. I don't really have any runners up for this one. Truth is, I honestly think these are the only 10 Bond henchmen I really like. But I would like to give a couple honorable mentions to two almost henchmen. The first is Baron Samedi from Live and Let Die, played by Jeffrey Holder. He's the voodoo guy. His existence in this movie doesn't make much sense, but it's entertaining as fuck. He's the character that breaks reality the hardest in this film, and really pushes it into fantasy territory. The second is Boris from GoldenEye, played by Alan Cumming. Boris is definitely a bad guy in this movie, but he's a non-combatant traitor. He's a lot of fun though, his death is awesome, and GoldenEye wouldn't be what it is without him. So here we go. Number 10, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd from Diamonds Are Forever, played by Bruce Glover and Putter Smith. These two are, without a doubt, the best part of the movie they're in. They're fucking ridiculous. They're boyfriends. With each other. They're a gay couple of henchmen, which makes them the only double henchman and relationship henchman. And considering this movie came out in 1971, I guess they were pretty progressive henchmen. They even finish each other's sentences. They're so cute. These next two henchmen are pretty similar. Number 9, Mr. Hinks from Spectre, played by Dave Bautista. So first is Mr. Hinks. I don't think there's any arguing that Mr. Hinks is the most memorable henchman from the Daniel Craig era. He's played by Dave Bautista, who has actual screen presence. He bores his thumbs into a dude's brain. He's in the second greatest train fight in the history of Bond. He's only so low because, let's face it, he doesn't have enough screen time and his death happens pretty early in the film. Number 8, Gobinda from Octopussy, played by Kabir Bedi. Gobinda is very similar to Mr. Hinks, except he's in way more of the movie. He's got that same threat level to him, but he also has a sword, and he dies spectacularly. He's a stoic trope, but another memorable one. Number 7, Teehee from Live and Let Die, played by Julius Harris. Teehee is the most threatening character in this whole dang movie, and he's still silly. He still hangs out with the gator that bit his hand off, and he had it replaced with a metal claw, making him a highly recognizable henchman. Teehee's great. He threatens to cut off Bond's dick, he has several good fight scenes, and he's got a sense of humor. He hides in a mailbag. Way to go. Number 6, Knick-Knack from The Man with the Golden Gun, played by Hervé Villechaize. Look, let's get the obvious out of the way. We both know why I love Knick-Knack. I don't need to say it out loud. His relationship with Scaramanga is kinda funny too. He's always trying to kill him, but fairly, by obeying the rules of his master's game. It's a consensual challenging of his master. It's weird, but who am I to question it? Alright, these next 5 are the heavy hitters. They should basically always be in a person's top 5 Bond henchmen in any particular order. Number 5, Oddjob from Goldfinger, played by Harold Sakata. Oddjob is arguably the most iconic Bond henchman of all time, and definitely the most influential. There have been many strong silent types, but Oddjob was the first. Oddjob's level of loyalty to Goldfinger is undying, even to the point of actual death. Oddjob stays in Fort Knox to keep Bond from dismantling a bomb, knowing they're both locked in the room and that he'll lose his life in the process. And let's not forget Oddjob's hat, one of the most famous weapons in film history. Yes, it's dumb to think that this man razor sharpens his hat and throws it at people to kill them. Although I did notice a goof. In every instance, Oddjob's hat is shown cutting through things, except when he uses it to kill that girl. It should have cut her head clean off, but instead, it breaks her neck. So, which is it? Is the hat sharp or blunt? If a hat can be embedded in a steel pole or cut a statue's head clean off, it would cut a person's head off. Seriously, what is Oddjob's hat? Number 4, Dario from License to Kill, played by Benicio del Toro. Any henchman of Frank Sanchez has to have a brutal side, and Dario is one brutal son of a bitch. Sanchez is brutal to a couple people personally, but being the boss, he prefers to let his henchman Dario handle most of the violence, which he does. Dario has severe bloodlust. I mentioned in my Bond villains list that Sanchez is an artist when it comes to murder, but Dario is the one actually getting on the scaffold. And he does it with complete eagerness. Sanchez has a level-headed coldness to him, but Dario is chomping at the bit for action. He definitely gets off on it. Whether he's smiling or glaring, when he joins the party, someone gonna die. Number 3, Xenia Onatopp from GoldenEye, played by Famke Janssen. Speaking of getting off, Xenia is like if Dario were turned on to 11. Speaking of turned on, Xenia literally gets off on murdering people. Literal bloodlust. Xenia's behavior even freaks out the people she works for. She even gets turned on when she's the one in danger, like when Bond was going to crash the tank into the train. And I don't know what leg workout she does, but the fact that she can kill people by squeezing them to death with her legs is pretty wild. Xenia also has arguably the highest personal body count of any henchman. She kills a lot of people in this movie, and I don't think anyone is more excited about killing than she is. Number 2, Red Grant from Russia with Love, played by Robert Shaw, not Robert Wise. I made a goof in my Connery video. Red Grant is the closest a henchman comes to being the villain of the movie. The main villain of Russia is actually Rosa Klebb, but we see a lot more of Red in this movie. He's the one actually chasing Bond, and he's even the character who opens the film. But Red is also completely different than any other Bond henchman. Every other Bond henchman in these movies has 2 traits. They're violent, and they follow orders. Red does also have these traits, but he's also intelligent. He has main villain level intelligence, and if he had survived the events of this movie, I could picture him being the main villain in a subsequent one. Red is following orders, but he also had to plan out all the events of From Russia with Love. His mission wasn't just to kill Bond. He doesn't just go in there and start throwing Bond around like a ragdoll like other henchmen. No, Red had to manufacture a series of events to ruin Bond's reputation and then kill him, and then make it look like a murder-suicide with the Bond girl. He's the only henchman who gains Bond's trust, infiltrating his and Tatiana's mission and supplanting it with his own. His only downfall? When he finally gets Bond exactly where he wants him, he relishes the moment. He's spent so long training to take down James Bond that he can't help but gloat. And Sean Connery's Bond is real good at talking his way out of problems. This gives him just enough time to trick Red into opening the briefcase and ultimately defeat him in the best train fight in the series. Red Grant is the closest a Bond henchman comes to feeling like a real character. We never got one like him again. Number 1, Jaws from The Spy Who Loved Me, and only that movie, played by Richard Kiel. After all the praise I heaped on Red Grant, how did Jaws push him down to number 2? Jaws has been done before, right? He's quiet, strong, violent like any other Bond henchman, right? Well, yeah, but Jaws is also fucking terrifying. This guy is scary. The only moment in any of these movies that actually scared me was when Jaws was hiding in the closet on the train. This moment actually made me jump like I was watching a horror movie. And that's Jaws. To a T. He's like if you put Jason Voorhees in a Bond movie. He stalks people and murders them like it's a slasher movie. And he murders them with his teeth. He fucking bites them to death. Jaws is the only henchman who rivals Oddjob in recognition, and for good reason. This guy makes you remember him in every scene he's in. That scene where he destroys the car that Bond and Triple X are in was like the T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park. Look at how big his hand is around Bond's neck. Look at the sheer terror on Bond's face. And in the end, instead of getting killed by the shark like everyone else in the movie, Jaws bites the shark to death. A guy named Jaws bites a shark to death 2 years after Jaws came out, a movie that a previous Bond henchman was in. Ridiculous. And Jaws is notably the only Bond henchman to survive the events of the movie he's in and return in the following movie. Though Moonraker just absolutely fucking ruins what made this character good. We don't need to talk about it. The fact that a guy like Jaws came out of the Roger Moore era is crazy. But he works. In a movie where a guy is trying to wipe out civilization and restart humanity at sea, Jaws somehow fits right in. Because he's Jaws, I guess. He's the best. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the rest of the awards ceremony. And like, subscribe, and share.